Chosen one, you are not here by accident. This moment was scheduled by heaven long before you ever pressed play. Every step, every delay, every silent season has been aligning you for this exact encounter. What you are hearing now is not random encouragement. It is a divine appointment, a spiritual summons, a prophetic signal that your season is shifting. Anointed one. Something has already begun to move in the unseen. Your name is being whispered in rooms you have never entered. Doors are being positioned ahead of you, not by effort, not by striving, but by divine timing. As it is written in Habakkuk chapter 2 verse 3, the vision waits for the appointed time, but it will surely come, and it will not delay. Chosen one. This is that moment. God has not only prepared a blessing for you, He has been preparing you for the blessing. Every test refined you, every delay protected you, every stretch strengthened your capacity. Now you are standing at the edge of sudden elevation, heaven-sent wealth transfer, and supernatural acceleration. Breathe. Open your spirit. Lean in. What is about to be released over your life is sacred, weighty, and intentional. This is not ordinary wisdom. This is revelation for the chosen one. The atmosphere around your life is changing, and what comes next will confirm that heaven has marked you for more. Chosen one. This message is not for the curious or the casual. It is for the anointed who have endured seasons that felt confusing, constricting, and isolating. It is for those who have asked God in the quiet, why has the path been so narrow, and why has the preparation been so intense? I need you to understand this clearly from the beginning. Heaven does not prepare lightly for what it intends to entrust heavily. The pressure you survived was not random. The stretching was not accidental. You were being shaped for something weighty, something sacred, something that would crush a soul that had not been refined. Anointed one, sudden wealth does not arrive like a lottery ticket falling from the sky. It arrives like a sealed assignment from heaven, released only when the spirit is strong enough to carry what the heart once begged for prematurely. What is approaching your life is not coincidence, luck, or a financial trend you happen to catch at the right time. It is divine timing aligning with spiritual maturity. It is what Scripture alludes to when it speaks of the vision arriving at its appointed time, not early and not late, but exactly when heaven has measured you ready. I want to speak to you honestly, not just prophetically. In my own life, there was a season when I prayed for increase without understanding what increase actually demands. I thought more money would mean more freedom, more peace, more rest. But what God showed me was this abundance does not reveal comfort. First, it reveals character. When small doors began to open for me, I saw things in my own heart I didn't know were still there. Impatience surfaced. Old insecurities whispered, pride tried to speak in subtle ways. That was when I learned a truth the chosen one must grasp early. God does not give this kind of increase to impress you, but to inspect you. Chosen one. Sudden wealth is not just a blessing, it is a test wrapped in a miracle. When elevation enters your life quickly, it exposes everything inside you that stayed quiet when life was simple. Blessing amplifies the inner world. When your capacity expands, your spirit is confronted with truth. And this is why heaven has been working on you internally while it looked like nothing was happening externally. God waits until the soul is steady before the blessing becomes heavy. Most people want the reward without the refinement. They want the overflow without the obedience. They want the outcome without the inner transformation. But you are different. You survived seasons where God removed people you thought would stay forever. You walked through wilderness moments where faith was your only language. You learned how to stretch a little and trust a lot. You learned how to hear God in silence, not applause. And because of that, you are becoming the kind of vessel heaven can trust. Sudden wealth is not only coming to increase your life, it is coming to awaken your discipline, your discernment, and your divine identity. I need you to hear this from lived experience. When God begins to increase your life, He also increases your awareness. Wealth does not silence temptation, it amplifies it. It does not erase insecurity, it exposes it. It does not cancel pressure, it magnifies it. I remember the moment when I went from barely enough to more than I was used to. Instead of instant relief, I felt confrontation. Old habits knocked louder, old fears resurfaced. That was when I realized abundance is not a destination, it is an examination. Chosen one, wealth is a magnifier, not a modifier. It turns up the volume on whatever is already inside you. This is why God has been dealing with your heart so deeply. This is why you've experienced internal shifts that others never saw. Your spirit has felt stretched, almost pulled into something larger than your current life. That stretching is intentional. God does not want your wealth to outgrow your wisdom. He does not want your money to expand faster than your maturity. He does not want your blessings to rise higher than your boundaries. He is shaping you so wealth does not break you, but builds you. And I need you to receive this clearly, chosen one. You have already passed tests you didn't know were tests. You walked away from people who appealed to your weakness, but threatened your calling. You stopped entertaining opportunities that looked good, but felt wrong. You chose discomfort over compromise. You chose healing over hiding. You chose growth over ego. Heaven took note. God weighed your responses in secret seasons. He watched how you handled the little, and it revealed something powerful. You are not driven by greed. You are driven by purpose. There was a season when I thought God was withholding from me. Doors stayed shut. Opportunities slipped away. It felt unfair. But later, when God finally trusted me with more, I understood the mercy in the delay. If I had received certain blessings too early, I would have lost them. Not because I was ungrateful, but because I was unprepared. Preparation is mercy. Delay is protection. Restraint is love. Chosen one, you are now standing at the moment where preparation is turning into release. Heaven is shifting. Alignments are forming. Doors are loosening. What is coming is not small, not fragile, and not temporary. It is strategic. It is divine. It has been earned in the unseen, and it will rest on your life with purpose, weight, and destiny. And as this unfolds, you must understand this next truth deeply, because it will frame everything that follows. Sudden wealth does not simply arrive to elevate your lifestyle. It arrives to expose your environment. Chosen one, as heaven prepares to increase what flows into your hands, it first sharpens what sees through your spirit. This is because sudden wealth does not merely elevate your life, it exposes the environment around you. It reveals who celebrated your survival, but silently resented the thought of your success. And this truth is uncomfortable, but it is necessary. God will never pour significant blessing into a life surrounded by hands that are not worthy to touch what He entrusts. I learned this lesson through pain, not theory. There was a season when I confused familiarity with loyalty. I kept people close simply because they had always been there. History made me feel obligated. But when small opportunities started arriving, something shifted. Their tone changed. Their support weakened. Their joy felt forced. That was the moment God opened my eyes to a hard truth. History and covenant are not the same. Just because someone walked with you in one season does not mean they are assigned to your next one. Chosen one. God will often let the wrong people leave before He allows the right blessings to arrive. And this pruning is not rejection, it is protection. You walked through seasons where people interpreted your delay as defeat, but heaven was using that delay to reveal hearts that could not be trusted with your next level. When God hides you, He is not diminishing you. He is disinfecting your atmosphere. He is removing every draining spirit, every leaky cup, every opportunistic companion who only valued you when you were convenient to their comfort. The stillness you felt was not emptiness, it was separation. The silence was not abandonment, it was insulation. The solitude was not punishment, it was preparation for a kind of increase that requires clarity instead of chaos. And chosen one, you passed those seasons with more grace than you realize. You learned how to pray without an audience. You learned how to hear God without external validation. You learned how to support yourself when others chose competition over celebration. That inner growth is the very reason heaven is shifting your life now, because the next phase of your assignment requires a spirit that cannot be manipulated, a heart that cannot be bought, and a mind that cannot be influenced by counterfeit connections. As sudden wealth approaches, the enemy becomes strategic. He cannot stop the blessing anymore, so he attempts to contaminate the vessel. He sends distractions disguised as opportunities, alliances dressed as destiny, and agreements wrapped in promises of acceleration that carry the scent of compromise. I remember a moment when an offer came into my life that looked perfect on paper. Exposure, income, influence. Everything in the natural said yes, but my spirit whispered no. That whisper was quiet, but it was firm. Something in the atmosphere felt misaligned, and I walked away, even though it didn't make sense at the time. Months later, the truth surfaced. That opportunity was rooted in manipulation and control. If I had stayed, I would have forfeited peace for a platform. Chosen one. Discernment is worth more than any dollar amount. When God elevates you, the enemy elevates his tactics. This is why you must trust the discomfort in your spirit. You must honor the hesitation that rises when something looks good but feels wrong. Not every open door is divine. Not every partnership is ordained. Heaven will never require you to sacrifice integrity in exchange for influence, and God will never send a blessing that contradicts your assignment. Wealth is not merely financial, it is spiritual weight. It is divine responsibility. It is a generational shift. When God increases you, He also increases the spiritual warfare around you, because the blessing changes your visibility in the unseen realm. In my journey, I learned that elevation attracts resistance, and you must anchor yourself in prayer the way a ship anchors in stormy waters. But here is the truth you must hold firmly. Resistance is confirmation. Warfare is proof of movement. Pressure is evidence that heaven has already approved your next level. You are not being attacked because you are weak. You are being opposed because you carry something the enemy fears. This season is not about learning how to receive wealth. It is about learning how to steward it with wisdom, integrity, and spiritual clarity. Wealth without identity becomes a trap. Wealth without healing becomes a battlefield. Wealth without purpose becomes a prison. But wealth in the hands of the chosen one becomes a weapon of restoration. It breaks generational limitations. It opens doors for others. It funds visions that were ignored. It answers prayers whispered by people you may never meet. You are being raised not just to handle money, but to handle influence, impact, and legacy. And the reason the training has been so intense is because God is shaping a leader who will not crumble under pressure, a giver who will not become prideful, a vessel who can carry abundance without losing purity. Chosen one, what is ahead of you is not small. It is not fragile. It is not temporary. It is a mantle. It is a calling. It is a sign that heaven trusts you with more than most people could handle. And as you step toward this sudden wealth, you must embrace this truth. You are not rising alone. Every breakthrough carries someone else's deliverance. Every open door carries someone else's freedom. Every resource you receive will ripple into lives you may never see. This is not about showing the world what you have. It is about showing heaven what you can handle. You are not being elevated to become impressive. You are being elevated to become impactful. Wealth is not the reward. It is the responsibility. And as this responsibility unfolds, there is another layer you must be prepared for. Because sudden wealth will not only elevate you, it will expose you. Chosen one, as sudden wealth draws closer, heaven begins its deepest work, not around you, but within you. This is the part of the journey most people are never warned about. Elevation does not only change your circumstances, it confronts your identity. It brings hidden beliefs to the surface and asks a question your spirit must be ready to answer. Do you believe you belong at this level? I remember a season when God elevated my life faster than my emotions could process. Opportunities multiplied, resources increased. People began treating me differently. From the outside it looked like favor, but on the inside I felt exposed. Old voices resurfaced, thoughts whispered. What if this disappears? What if you lose it all? What if you're not really qualified for this? I later understood those thoughts were not fear. They were residue from years of being overlooked, residue from seasons where lack felt normal and abundance felt unfamiliar. Chosen one, you may feel this same tension as your life begins to expand. But hear this clearly, you were not invited into this season. You were destined for it. Heaven did not deliver this increase to the wrong address. Every struggle you survived was rehearsal for the reality you are stepping into now. Your spirit is catching up to what heaven already prepared. This rising is not about ego. It is about assignment. It is not about proving anything to people who doubted you. It is about honoring the trust God is placing in you. Wealth is not the reward. It is the responsibility. And heaven has evaluated your character, your endurance, your humility, and your obedience, and found you fit to carry what others never imagined you could hold. But here is the part many overlook. Sudden wealth awakens old identities if they are not healed. Abundance has a way of pulling forward childhood narratives, generational fears, and survival mindsets you thought were gone. I had to confront beliefs that said struggle made me worthy, that ease was suspicious, that rest had to be earned through exhaustion. God had to uproot those lies before I could steward what He was releasing. Chosen one. This is why God trains your inner world before He expands your outer one. He heals the orphan spirit before He releases inheritance. He breaks the mindset of scarcity before He multiplies provision. He uproots the belief that you are alone before He entrusts you with responsibility that impacts others. This is not delay, this is alignment. There were seasons when I felt abandoned, not realizing God was removing my dependence on people so I could depend fully on Him. There were seasons when I had just enough, not realizing He was teaching me discipline so abundance would not destroy me. Every tightening was training. Every limitation was instruction. Every silence was strategy. Chosen one. When opportunities come now, you will notice something has changed. You no longer shrink. You no longer over-explain. You no longer feel the need to prove yourself. You rise into rooms with quiet authority because you recognize these moments are not random. They are written. And as sudden wealth approaches, you may notice people from your past reappearing, not because they have healed, but because they sense something shifting in your life. Some will seek reconciliation without accountability. Others will pretend nothing ever happened. A few will try to attach themselves to your breakthrough as if they were part of your process. This is where maturity becomes critical. Wealth gives you options, but wisdom teaches restraint. Forgiveness does not mean re-entry. Closure does not require conversation. Access is not a reward you owe anyone because you have elevated. I learned this when someone who hurt me deeply returned once my life began to change. For a moment, I felt the urge to prove myself, to demonstrate growth. But my spirit whispered a truth I will never forget. True elevation is silent. The blessing speaks for itself. Chosen one. Forgiveness is not about releasing the other person. It is about releasing the version of you that was tied to the pain. You are not becoming unreachable. You are becoming unshakable. Heaven is shaping you into someone who rises without residue, forgives without naivety, and walks forward without dragging the past behind them. And here is another truth you must receive with maturity. Sudden wealth will not expose your weakness. It will expose the parts of you that learned to survive for too long. When abundance reaches your hands, old thoughts may whisper, "Do you deserve this?" or "Are you truly ready?" Those thoughts are not evidence of unworthiness. They are signals that an old identity no longer fits. Chosen one. You are not stepping into wealth as a visitor. You are stepping into it as someone heaven has refined, trusted, and commissioned. Release the identity shaped by lack. Release the mindset formed in survival. Embrace the mantle being placed on your life now. Because what is ahead is not random. It is assignment. Chosen one. As your identity begins to align with the level heaven is calling you into, the atmosphere around you will start to shift in noticeable ways. This is not imagination. This is spiritual reality. Sudden wealth does not only transform your inner world, it alters the spiritual landscape surrounding your life. When God raises you, He also raises the level of attention on you, both seen and unseen. There is a truth many never hear until it is too late. When God increases you more, eyes begin to watch you. Some of those eyes are divine, assigned to protect, guide, and position you. But other eyes are predatory, sent to observe, imitate, and manipulate. And before the blessing arrives in full, heaven ensures your discernment becomes sharp enough to tell the difference. This is why you have been sensing shifts in your atmosphere. This is why certain people suddenly feel distant, uninterested, or disconnected. Heaven is removing the wrong eyes so you can rise without becoming prey. I remember a season when I did not understand this separation. People I cared about grew cold without explanation. Some became passive-aggressive. Others withdrew completely. At first, I took it personally. I replayed conversations in my mind, wondering what I had done wrong. But as I continued seeking God, He revealed something that changed my perspective. He showed me that some people had been silently studying me, waiting for the breakthrough, not to celebrate, but to benefit. Chosen one. There are people who can tolerate your humility, but would resent your abundance. They are comfortable with your potential, but threatened by your manifestation. Their presence would have created spiritual leakage in a season meant for overflow. Heaven was creating space around me so that when the blessing came, it would not be drained before it could take root. That was when I learned separation is not always rejection. Sometimes it is spiritual insulation, and this same insulation is happening in your life now. Some people are not meant to be in the room when God reveals what He has been building in secret. Some cannot handle the weight of your calling. Some cannot process the truth of what you carry. Many people love the humble version of you because it makes them comfortable. But the elevated version of you will confront insecurities in those who refuse to grow. This is why God removes people before He releases provision. Your destiny cannot be entrusted to hands that tremble with envy. Your wealth cannot be surrounded by spirits that feed on insecurity. And your increase cannot flourish in environments contaminated by jealousy. But understand this clearly, chosen one. Heaven is not only removing the wrong people, it is also positioning the right ones. You may not realize it yet, but your consistency, your integrity, your quiet obedience, and your spiritual resilience have attracted the attention of financial gatekeepers and divine connectors. People with influence often observe silently before they invest openly. They are not impressed by noise. They are drawn to authenticity. They watch how you handle disappointment. They observe how you treat people who cannot give you anything in return. They pay attention to how you speak, how you live, and how you carry yourself in small seasons. In my own journey, I discovered that people with real authority move quietly. They rarely announce themselves. They watch patterns. They study character. And when they see humility, discipline, and purpose wrapped in spiritual maturity, they recognize someone heaven can trust. Chosen one. You have been observed by the right eyes. Heaven has whispered your name in circles you have not yet entered. Your integrity has traveled farther than your voice ever could. And when the timing is right, doors will open suddenly and unmistakably. You will know it was not your effort. It was orchestration. But with this orchestration comes another layer of pressure. Sudden wealth will trigger people who believe you skipped steps they struggled through. Some will question why God chose you instead of them. Their reaction has nothing to do with your character and everything to do with what your elevation exposes in their hearts. Chosen one, do not internalize their confusion. Your rise is not a threat. It is a prophecy fulfilled. When the wealth arrives, isolation may increase, not because you are becoming distant, but because God is narrowing your circle so you can move with precision. You will notice conversations feel different. Certain gatherings feel heavy. Some environments feel spiritually off. This is because you are stepping into a frequency not everyone can match. Your assignment now requires clarity, sanctity, and intentionality. You cannot pour into everything or everyone. You cannot stretch yourself thin to prove loyalty. You cannot shrink to make others comfortable. Elevation demands boundaries. Wealth requires wisdom. You are being prepared for a life where your presence carries weight, your decisions shape futures, and your voice carries authority. Chosen one, you are not rising to fit in. You are rising to fulfill. You are not being elevated to be seen. You are being elevated to be strategic. The wealth coming to you is not for applause, it is for assignment. And this assignment will require discernment at a level you have never operated in before. Because as your life expands, counterfeit opportunities will multiply. Invitations will come that promise speed but cost peace. Alliances will form that offer access but demand compromise. But your spirit has been trained. you will recognize misalignment not by logic, but by atmosphere. Peace will guide you faster than reason ever could. And this leads to the next truth you must be ready to receive. The more God elevates you, the more He will require you to trust what you sense, even when it contradicts what you see. Because sudden wealth is not just an increase, it is an unveiling. Chosen one, as sudden wealth draws nearer, there is a reality heaven requires you to face with courage and clarity. This level of increase does not only reveal blessings, it reveals attachments, it exposes motives, it uncovers agreements you did not know you were still carrying. This is why God has been refining your discernment so intensely. Sudden wealth is not simply an increase, it is an unveiling. When God raises you, He also raises the level of spiritual warfare assigned to your life. Not because you are weak, but because your influence is becoming heavier. Influence always attracts both light and shadow. I learned this firsthand when God began shifting things for me in ways I could not yet explain. People who once overlooked me suddenly became curious. Those who once doubted me suddenly wanted access. And those who had no interest in my journey suddenly had strong opinions about my direction. It was during that season that God whispered something I will never forget. Elevation reveals eyesight. It shows who saw your worth before the world noticed your rise. As sudden wealth approaches your life, be prepared for the atmosphere around you to change. Some will celebrate you sincerely. Others will feel threatened without understanding why. Some will honor your growth. Others will quietly resent your progress. Their reactions are not about your character. They are about what your blessing exposes in their hearts. The rise of the chosen one forces others to confront stagnation they never addressed. Your elevation becomes a mirror, reflecting decisions they avoided healing, they postponed, and potential they ignored. And while you never intended to trigger anyone, favor has a way of awakening what people thought they buried. This is why God isolates before He elevates. He removes attachments that cannot survive the oxygen of your next level. In my own journey, I mourned connections I thought would last forever, not realizing God was sparing me from betrayal. There were people who loved my humility, but would have despised my abundance. People who supported my struggle, but could not celebrate my success. People who were comfortable with my potential, but threatened by my manifestation. Heaven saw what I could not see. And by the time the blessing landed, the wrong voices were already gone. Chosen one, God has done the same for you. Some exits broke your heart, but they protected your destiny. Some separations felt cruel, but they cleared the space you needed to grow. Some losses felt unfair, but they were mercy disguised as disappointment. As sudden wealth approaches, you must understand the difference between covenant and convenience. Covenant stands with you in lack, celebrates you in growth, and protects you in abundance. Convenience stays as long as you are useful, applauds while comfortable, and disappears when your elevation triggers insecurity. The wealth coming to you is too heavy to carry counterfeit support. Heaven will not allow parasites in a season designed for purpose. This is why every closed door, every silent season, and every unexpected shift in relationships happened exactly when it did. God was guarding His investment in you. But sudden wealth also demands a new level of self-awareness. It will expose any part of you that still feels unworthy of increase. It will reveal whether you still attach your identity to old narratives, old wounds, old failures, or labels that no longer describe who you have become. When wealth finally enters your life, it will ask your spirit a quiet but powerful question. Do you believe you belong here? I remember the first time God blessed me in a way that exceeded my understanding. I felt the tension between gratitude and disbelief. One part of me felt seen and chosen. Another part felt out of place, like I had walked into a room meant for someone else. That feeling was not humility, it was residue from years of being underestimated, residue from seasons where lack felt familiar and abundance felt foreign. Chosen one, you may feel this same tension, but hear me clearly, you were not invited into this season, you were destined for it. Heaven did not assign this breakthrough to the wrong life. God did not deliver increase to the wrong address. You are stepping into a chapter that was always written for you. Every moment of struggle was rehearsal for the reality you are about to live. This rising is not about ego, it is about assignment. It is not about showing the world what you have, it is about showing heaven what you can handle. You are not being elevated to become impressive. You are being elevated to become impactful. Wealth is not the reward, it is the responsibility. And heaven has already evaluated your character, your endurance, your humility, and your obedience. You have survived what was designed to break you. You endured what others never saw. You remained faithful when quitting would have been easier. And now, heaven is responding. Chosen one, the sudden wealth approaching your life is not just financial. It is a spiritual endorsement. It is heaven saying you are ready, ready to steward, ready to build, ready to rise. Everything you walked through prepared you to carry this next chapter with wisdom, grace, and authority. But as heaven aligns your steps, there is a deeper layer of this journey you must prepare your heart for. Sudden wealth will not only change your financial landscape, it will transform how you move through life. It carries spiritual gravity. It pulls you into a higher dimension of responsibility, visibility, and influence. The blessing you are stepping into is generational. It rewrites family lines. It shifts patterns older than you. It plants seeds that will outlive you. But this level of increase requires a soul anchored in purpose rather than ego clarity, rather than chaos and discernment, rather than desire. When God trusts you with abundance, He is not rewarding effort alone. He is revealing assignment. Wealth does not just change circumstances, it changes calling. It places you in rooms where decisions shape futures and resources become instruments of impact. And in those rooms, your values matter more than your talent. This is why heaven spent years shaping your inner life. God is not raising you to be rich. He is raising you to be responsible, refined, and spiritually equipped for the mantle resting on your life. Chosen one. As heaven prepares to move wealth more freely through your hands, it must first transform how you relate to power, pressure, and purpose. This is a sacred transition, and it is one many never recognize while it is happening. Money does not simply increase options, it increases responsibility. It amplifies decision-making. It magnifies the consequences of every yes and every no. That is why God has been reshaping your mindset long before reshaping your finances. There was a time in my own journey when I believed money was security. I thought if I had enough, fear would disappear. If I had enough, stress would ease. If I had enough, I would finally rest. But God corrected me gently and firmly. He showed me that money is a tool, not a foundation. If money becomes your source, it will eventually become your master. But if purpose remains your anchor, money will serve what heaven intends. Chosen one. This is why you have been learning to live from vision instead of survival. There was a season when every decision you made was driven by urgency. Bills were due, needs were immediate, pressure felt constant. But even then, God was training you. He was teaching you how to think strategically under stress, how to stay disciplined with little, and how to remain obedient when it would have been easier to panic. Those lessons were not for lack. They were for abundance, because abundance brings a different kind of pressure. It is not the pressure of scarcity, but the pressure of stewardship. When wealth begins to flow, decisions multiply, opportunities increase, requests expand, expectations rise, people assume access, voices compete, and without clarity, abundance can quickly become overwhelming. This is why God transforms your relationship with money before He multiplies it. Chosen one, there will come a moment when you realize you are no longer operating from reaction, but from intention. You will no longer make decisions based on fear, but based on alignment. You will no longer chase opportunities, but evaluate assignments. This is the shift heaven brings before sudden wealth arrives. God teaches you to rule money, not be ruled by it. I remember when this shift happened for me. I noticed that I no longer felt rushed by every opportunity. I began to pause, to pray, to listen. What once excited me no longer moved me if peace was missing. That was when I understood God had changed my inner posture. Money no longer represented escape. It represented responsibility. And with that shift came freedom. Chosen one, true wealth is not measured by what you accumulate, but by what you are trusted to steward. The wealth coming toward you is not meant to inflate your life. It is meant to expand your impact. You will find yourself supporting visions that would have died without your obedience, lifting people who once had no voice, planting seeds that grow into opportunities others prayed for. You are becoming a vessel heaven uses to release answers into the world. This is why your heart has been tested so intensely. God is ensuring abundance does not corrupt you, that influence does not distract you, and that success does not detour you from your assignment. While others chase applause, you will be drawn to purpose. While others seek spotlight, you will seek alignment. While others display what they have, you will build quietly with what you've been given. But hear this clearly, chosen one. As influence grows, so does spiritual warfare. Wealth draws attention, both divine and demonic. When the blessing lands, counterfeit opportunities will attempt to attach themselves to your momentum. Alliances will appear that seem aligned but dilute vision. Contracts may promise acceleration but carry hidden bondage. I faced this during a season when everything in my life seemed to accelerate at once. People came with grand ideas and polished promises. They spoke my language. They mirrored my passion. They flattered my potential. But as I prayed, their spirit did not align with mine. I learned that discernment is not about judging what looks bad. It is about detecting what looks good, but is rooted in darkness. Chosen one, you must trust your spirit more than your eyes. Not every investor is divine. Not every partnership is destiny. Not every opportunity is ordained. Heaven will never require you to compromise your character to climb higher. And you will know when something is not from God, because it will bring confusion instead of clarity, pressure instead of peace, urgency instead of alignment. The blessing of the Lord adds no sorrow. Anything that weighs heavily on your spirit is not your assignment. As sudden wealth enters your life, relationships will shift again. Some will feel entitled to your increase. Others will expect access simply because they knew you before the blessing. A few will resent the ways you expand beyond limitations they accepted for themselves. Chosen one. Your journey is not a group assignment. Elevation requires boundaries. Wealth requires isolation, not because you are better, but because you are responsible for more. Your purpose cannot be slowed by those who fear growth. Your assignment cannot be diluted by those who avoid accountability, and your spirit cannot be drained by those who only connect when you have something to give. I had to learn how to honor people without giving them access, love without letting them lead me, and help without allowing them to hinder me. That wisdom protected my purpose, and it will protect yours. You must guard your peace with the same intensity you guard your wealth. Peace is the atmosphere where wisdom grows, and wisdom is the foundation of divine stewardship. Chosen one. What is coming to you is not temporary abundance. It is spiritual authorization. Heaven is promoting you into a realm where your presence carries weight, your decisions shape futures, and your obedience impacts more than you can see. Your wealth will not just be currency, it will be calling, and everything you endured was preparation for this magnitude. You are not rising by accident, you are rising by assignment. Heaven stands behind you. But as you step closer to this realm of sudden wealth, there is one dimension many overlook. Yet, it is one of the most spiritually significant parts of elevation. Wealth does not just empower you, it alters the spiritual terrain around you. Chosen one. As you step closer to the manifestation of sudden wealth, heaven intensifies one of its most critical preparations, discernment. This is not casual intuition. This is spiritual perception sharpened through obedience, silence, and restraint. Wealth does not only change what you can do, it changes who can reach you, who can influence you, and who will attempt to position themselves near your life. Before the blessing appears in full view, God ensures your spirit can distinguish between divine favor and predatory attention. There is a difference between those sent to support your assignment and those drawn to consume your momentum, and the danger is not always obvious. Predatory attention rarely announces itself with hostility. It arrives with admiration. It wears agreement. It speaks your language. It studies your patterns. It mirrors your vision. This is why God has trained you to sense atmosphere rather than analyze appearance. I learned this lesson during a season when my life felt watched, not celebrated, observed. People asked questions that sounded supportive but felt investigative. They wanted details, timelines, access. They wanted proximity without responsibility. At first I thought I was being ungrateful or suspicious, but God corrected me. He showed me that when elevation approaches, monitoring increases. Not everyone watching you is for you. Chosen one. Heaven sharpens your discernment before your visibility increases because wealth magnifies exposure. When resources expand, so does the range of influence and the radius of vulnerability. This is why you felt an increased sensitivity to tone, energy, and intention. Conversations that once felt neutral now feel heavy. Invitations that once excited you now feel draining. This is not arrogance, this is alignment. God has been teaching you to read what is not being said, to notice the pause behind praise, to recognize the subtle tension behind agreement, to trust the check in your spirit, even when logic finds no fault. This training is essential because not every smile is safe and not every endorsement is pure. Chosen one. There are people who want access to your blessing without submitting to your boundaries. They want the benefit of your elevation without honoring your process. They want proximity to your favor without respect for your assignment. And wealth will test whether you allow this access out of guilt, fear, or the desire to be liked. I faced this when people began offering help that came with strings. Advice that sounded wise but subtly redirected my focus. Support that slowly demanded control. That was when God taught me a rule: I still live by. Help that costs your peace is not help. Guidance that confuses your direction is not divine. Opportunity that pressures your conscience is not aligned. Chosen one discernment protects what money cannot. It guards your integrity, preserves your clarity, and shields your assignment. This is why God has been asking you to slow down when everything around you says, hurry. Speed is often the enemy's favorite disguise. He knows that rushed decisions bypass prayer. Urgency dulls discernment. Pressure silences wisdom. Heaven moves differently. Divine alignment does not rush you, it steadies you. It confirms itself through peace, not panic. It invites patience, not fear. And the more you trust this process, the clearer your discernment becomes. You may notice that your circle continues to narrow. This is intentional. God is reducing noise so your spirit remains sensitive. Fewer voices mean clearer direction. Smaller circles mean stronger alignment. This does not mean you are becoming distant. It means you are becoming precise. Chosen one wealth will introduce you to rooms where influence is subtle and power is quiet. In those rooms, character speaks louder than charisma. Integrity weighs more than credentials. Discernment determines survival. God has been preparing you not just to enter these rooms, but to remain whole within them. I remember walking away from opportunities that would have elevated my profile, but compromised my peace. At the time, it felt like loss. Later, it revealed itself as protection. Those who rushed ahead found themselves entangled. Those who ignored warning signs paid with regret. Obedience preserved me when ambition could have destroyed me. Chosen one. The ability to say no is a sign of authority. You do not need to explain your boundaries to people who benefit from your lack of them. You do not need to justify your obedience to those who profit from your compromise. When God elevates you, He also expects you to protect what He releases. This is why your sensitivity has increased, why you feel unsettled in environments you once tolerated, why you can no longer laugh at what once felt harmless. Your spirit has matured, your awareness has expanded. You are being trained to sense danger before it manifests and alignment before it announces itself. And hear this carefully, discernment is not suspicion, it is stewardship. It does not make you cold, it makes you clear. It does not isolate you from people. It preserves you for purpose. The chosen one is not paranoid. The chosen one is perceptive. As sudden wealth approaches, you will also notice divine confirmations increasing. The right connections will feel effortless. Conversations will carry clarity. Opportunities will align without pressure. Provision will come with peace. These are signs of heaven's hand. Learn to recognize them. Learn to trust them. Chosen one. You are not late. You are not behind. You are not missing anything meant for you. God is not testing your speed. He is refining your sight, because the next level of your life will require decisions that affect more than you. Families, communities, futures, legacies. And as this discernment settles deeper into your spirit, there is another truth you must prepare for. When wealth arrives, it will not only draw attention, it will activate confrontation. Not always outward, but internal. Old fears will test your confidence. old narratives will challenge your authority. Chosen one. When sudden wealth finally steps into your life, the most intense confrontation will not come from people around you. It will rise from within you. This is the moment heaven prepares you for, quietly, patiently, and deliberately. Because abundance does not only magnify influence, it amplifies identity. It brings every unresolved belief to the surface and asks one question your spirit must answer with authority. Who are you when everything expands? There was a time when I thought my greatest battles would end once provision arrived. I believed pressure belonged to lack, not abundance. But when God began increasing my life, I discovered that expansion introduces a different kind of resistance. Old fears that survived quietly in the background suddenly spoke louder. Questions I thought I had already settled tried to reopen. Thoughts like, what if this is temporary? Or, what if you fail at this level? Appeared without warning. That was when God showed me that abundance does not create insecurity, it reveals it. Chosen one. This is why heaven fortifies your inner foundation before allowing your life to expand fully. God will not allow external blessing to outrun internal stability. If your identity is still rooted in survival, abundance will feel threatening. If your confidence is still tied to approval, visibility will feel overwhelming. If your worth is still measured by performance, rest will feel undeserved. So God heals these places first. You may have noticed that your internal dialogue has been changing. You are becoming more aware of your thoughts. You are questioning beliefs that once felt normal. You are no longer comfortable with self-doubt dressed as humility. This is not pride rising. This is authority forming. Heaven is teaching you to stand on truth rather than emotion. I had to learn this in a season when God expanded my reach unexpectedly. People listened differently. Doors opened faster. Responsibility increased. And I realized that if I did not anchor my identity in God, I would try to earn what was already entrusted to me. That striving would have exhausted my spirit. So God taught me to rest in assignment rather than perform for validation. Chosen one wealth will test whether your confidence is rooted in calling or comparison. It will challenge whether your peace is anchored in obedience or outcomes. And this is why God has been breaking comparison off your life. You no longer feel the need to measure yourself against others. Their pace does not pressure you. Their success does not threaten you. Their opinions do not define you. This freedom is preparation. Because when abundance arrives, comparison becomes a trap. It pushes you to overextend, overspend, and overexplain. It tempts you to prove legitimacy rather than walk in authority. Heaven is protecting you from that trap by strengthening your inner assurance now. Chosen one. You are learning to let your identity come from obedience, not applause. You are becoming comfortable being misunderstood. You are no longer anxious to be seen. You are secure in being aligned. This is a rare posture, and it is why heaven can trust you with more. There will be moments when abundance exposes lingering beliefs shaped by your past. Childhood experiences, generational narratives, survival patterns passed down unconsciously. I remember realizing that I still carried a belief that struggle made me spiritual, that ease meant compromise. God had to uproot that lie. He showed me that peace is not weakness, rest is not laziness, enjoyment is not guilt. These truths freed me to steward abundance without shame. Chosen one. God is uprooting similar beliefs in you now. He is replacing survival with stewardship. He is replacing fear with authority. He is replacing guilt with gratitude. This is not a cosmetic change, it is a foundational shift. You may feel moments of unfamiliarity with your own growth, like you are stepping into shoes that feel bigger than your past. That discomfort is not a warning, it is evidence of expansion. You are growing into the measure of your assignment, and heaven is patient with this process. Understand this clearly. Confidence is not arrogance when it is rooted in obedience. Authority is not pride when it is anchored in humility. God is teaching you to stand tall without becoming hard to walk boldly, without becoming rigid to lead, without losing tenderness. Chosen one. The internal confrontation you feel is not meant to stop you. It is meant to strengthen you. Old narratives are surfacing because they are losing power. Fear speaks loudest right before it is displaced. Doubt protests when authority arrives. Do not wrestle with these voices. Replace them with truth. This is where spiritual discipline becomes essential. Prayer becomes less about asking and more about aligning. Stillness becomes strategy. Silence becomes strength. God is teaching you to regulate your inner world so abundance does not overwhelm your nervous system or distort your decisions. I learned that when peace governs your inner life, wealth cannot dominate your identity. When clarity anchors your mind, pressure cannot rush your choices. When purpose defines your direction, distractions lose their pull. These are the inner systems God is establishing in you now. Chosen one, you are being fortified for longevity, not momentary success. Heaven is not interested in short-term elevation that leads to long-term collapse. It is building you to sustain influence, steward resources, and remain whole across seasons. And as this inner fortification settles, something else begins to happen. Your confidence no longer needs to announce itself. Your authority does not demand recognition. Your presence carries quiet strength. People will feel stability around you without understanding why. This is spiritual weight formed through obedience. You are not becoming less emotional. You are becoming regulated. You are not becoming detached. You are becoming anchored. This stability is what allows wealth to flow without destabilizing your life. Chosen one, receive this truth. You do not have to prove readiness for what God has already approved. You do not have to rush into what is already aligned. You do not have to defend what heaven has declared. Your role is to remain rooted, responsive, and reverent. Because the abundance coming toward you will amplify everything, but it will not break you. Heaven has fortified you. Your foundation is being strengthened. Your identity is being secured. And as this internal work completes, another external shift will follow. Chosen one. As sudden wealth approaches its point of manifestation, there is a dimension of pressure many never recognize for what it truly is. What you are sensing is not only personal resistance, it is generational. When God elevates you into a level your bloodline has never touched, you do not rise alone. You confront patterns, limits, and agreements that have existed long before you were born. This is why the pressure has felt heavier than logic can explain. This is why moments of anxiety, hesitation, or emotional weight have surfaced without a clear cause. You are not just stepping into abundance, you are interrupting cycles, and cycles do not release their grip quietly. I remember the season when this became clear to me. I began making decisions no one in my family had ever made. I was choosing stability where chaos had been normal, discipline where inconsistency had been inherited, vision where survival had been the rule, and suddenly resistance intensified, not externally at first, but internally. Fears that didn't feel like my own surfaced. Doubts that had no origin in my present reality tried to claim authority over my mind. That was when God showed me the truth. I was not just fighting for my future. I was breaking agreements my lineage had lived under for generations. Chosen one. Every family carries invisible patterns, poverty mindsets, fear of risk, emotional instability, self-sabotage, limitation disguised as humility. These patterns survive by repetition, not by truth. And when one person rises high enough to challenge them, resistance activates. Not because you are wrong, but because you are effective. This is why sudden wealth brings a different kind of warfare. It threatens old systems. It dismantles narratives that said, "This is as far as we go." When you cross into abundance, you become proof that the ceiling was never divine. It was enforced, and enforcement resists exposure. You may feel moments where old thoughts appear that don't match who you've become. Thoughts of unworthiness, fear of loss, guilt for having more than others. These are not signs of weakness. They are echoes of a system being dismantled. The enemy does not fight what is staying small. He fights what is breaking free. Chosen one. Your obedience is disrupting more than your own life. It is altering the future of people who will never know your name. Your rise is rewriting what is possible for those connected to your bloodline and those connected to your assignment. That is why the pressure feels disproportionate. You are carrying more than personal success. You are carrying legacy. I had to learn how to stand firm when this resistance intensified. There were moments I questioned myself unnecessarily. Moments when I felt the urge to retreat, to slow down, to make myself smaller for the comfort of others. But God spoke clearly to me. He said, "If you stop now, you don't just delay yourself. You delay everyone attached to what I'm doing through you." Chosen one, hear this with clarity. Your hesitation affects more than your comfort. Your obedience affects more than your outcome. When heaven assigns wealth, it is never just about provision. It is about positioning someone to become a point of interruption in the spirit. This is why the enemy tries to entangle you in overextension, guilt, and people-pleasing. He wants to exhaust you emotionally so you abandon the weight you were built to carry. He wants to confuse your motives so you question your calling. He wants to make you feel isolated so you mistake separation for abandonment. But separation is strategy. Isolation is insulation. God is narrowing your emotional bandwidth so you do not leak strength into places that cannot sustain what you are becoming. Chosen one. You are not responsible for carrying everyone with you. You are responsible for staying obedient. God will assign the right people at the right time. He will protect what He intends to multiply. Your role is to remain anchored when resistance rises. This is where spiritual maturity becomes essential. You must learn to distinguish between emotional discomfort and spiritual danger. Discomfort often signals growth. Danger signals misalignment. Do not retreat simply because things feel heavy. Evaluate whether the heaviness is from pressure or from compromise. Pressure refines. Compromise corrodes. I learned that the heaviest seasons often preceded the greatest breakthroughs. Not because God delays, but because resistance intensifies right before release. The enemy overplays his hand when he senses loss of territory, and territory is being lost through your obedience. Chosen one. Sudden wealth does not just change what you have, it changes what you represent. You become evidence. Evidence that discipline breaks cycles. Evidence that obedience produces freedom. Evidence that God still intervenes in human stories. This is why generational warfare often appears disguised as fatigue, as emotional overwhelm, as doubt without cause. But when you recognize it for what it is, it loses its power. You are not tired because you are failing. You are tired because you are carrying weight no one before you carried. And heaven is not asking you to carry it alone. God strengthens those He assigns. He reinforces those He positions. He sustains those He trusts. The same God who released the assignment releases the endurance to fulfill it. Chosen one, you are not required to rush this process. You are required to remain rooted, stay anchored in truth, stay connected to peace, stay aligned with purpose. The resistance you feel is temporary. The impact of your obedience is eternal, because when sudden wealth arrives fully, it will not just bless you, it will stabilize futures, it will fund healing, it will restore dignity, it will create opportunity where none existed, and every force that resisted you will lose authority the moment provision meets obedience. You are not imagining this shift. You are not overthinking this season. You are standing at a threshold that alters legacy. And as this generational resistance weakens, something else begins to rise. Chosen one. As sudden wealth moves from the unseen into visible reality, another layer of preparation becomes essential. Visibility. This is the weight many underestimate. It is one thing to carry abundance privately. It is another to carry it publicly. When God elevates you, your life becomes observed in ways it never was before. Your decisions are noticed. Your silence is interpreted, your boundaries are questioned, and your restraint is often misunderstood. This is why heaven prepares your spirit before your platform expands. Visibility without inner strength becomes exposure. Influence without privacy becomes vulnerability. God does not elevate the chosen one to be consumed by opinions. He elevates you to be anchored in truth. I remember the first season when my life became visible beyond my control. People spoke about me who had never spoken to me. Assumptions were made based on fragments of information. My motives were questioned. My pace was criticized. At first, I felt the urge to explain myself, to clarify, to correct every misunderstanding. But God stopped me. He said, if you spend your strength managing perception, you will lose focus on assignment. Chosen one visibility introduces scrutiny, but scrutiny does not define you. Heaven does not require you to be understood. It requires you to be obedient. When wealth arrives, some will applaud you loudly, others will watch quietly, and a few will attempt to reinterpret your journey through their own insecurities. None of these reactions are your responsibility. God is teaching you to let your fruit speak louder than your defense. Silence, when guided by wisdom, becomes authority. You do not need to announce your integrity. You demonstrate it through consistency. You do not need to justify your boundaries. You protect them through obedience. Chosen one. Wealth will invite opinions you never requested. Some will feel entitled to comment on your choices. Others will question your humility simply because your life expanded. But humility is not pretending to be small. Humility is remaining aligned regardless of scale. God does not require you to shrink to remain spiritual. This is where many falter. They try to stay relatable by diminishing what God has built. They hide favor to avoid tension. They dilute authority to preserve comfort. But heaven did not elevate you to blend in. It elevated you to stand firm. Visibility will test whether your identity is anchored in approval or in calling. It will challenge whether your peace comes from agreement or from obedience. I had to learn to let go of the need to be liked, not because I became indifferent, but because I became focused. When your assignment grows, emotional availability must become selective. Chosen one. You will notice that as wealth arrives, access will increase, but intimacy must decrease. Not everyone who sees you should know you. Not everyone who praises you should reach you. God is teaching you how to separate public presence from private life. This separation preserves strength. Your private disciplines will determine your public stability. Prayer keeps you grounded when praise gets loud. Stillness protects your clarity when noise increases. Boundaries preserve your peace when demands multiply. This is not withdrawal, this is wisdom. I learned that the more visible my life became, the more essential my inner life was. I had to become ruthless about protecting time with God, ruthless about guarding my thoughts, ruthless about who influenced my decisions. Visibility exposes cracks, discipline seals them. Chosen one, understand this scrutiny does not mean you are doing something wrong. It means you are doing something that matters. The enemy does not investigate what poses no threat. Resistance increases when impact becomes inevitable. But God has not left you unprotected. He is teaching you how to stand calmly while being watched, how to move steadily while being questioned, how to remain gracious while being misunderstood. These skills are not optional at your next level. They are survival tools. You will need to learn when to speak and when silence carries more authority, when to respond and when restraint preserves strength, when to engage and when distance protects alignment. These decisions are not about ego, they are about stewardship. Chosen one, your visibility is connected to your responsibility. The more God trusts you with, the more He expects you to move with discernment. Not everything deserves a response. Not every opinion deserves consideration. Not every invitation deserves acceptance. And this is where many misunderstand you. They will interpret your restraint as arrogance, your boundaries as coldness, your privacy as pride. But the chosen one knows the difference between guarding purpose and guarding ego. You are not protecting image, you are protecting assignment. I had to learn that being seen does not require being accessible, being influential does not require being available, and being blessed does not require being explainable. Heaven approves what matters most. Chosen one, as wealth becomes visible, your character must remain invisible. Your ego must stay quiet. Your spirit must stay submitted. God will not allow the blessing to speak louder than your obedience. This is why He trained you in hidden seasons, so visibility would not intoxicate you. And here is the truth that settles the heart. The louder the world becomes, the quieter your spirit must be. Not withdrawn, but centered. Not disconnected, but anchored. Not defensive, but discerning. Because the goal is not to survive visibility, it is to steward it. To use influence without being consumed by it. To carry weight without losing balance. To walk publicly without living performatively. Chosen one, heaven has prepared you for this. Your inner life has been strengthened, your discernment sharpened, your identity secured. When wealth announces itself, your spirit will remain private, protected, and powerful. And as this visibility stabilizes, something else shifts. Your life begins to model what obedience looks like at scale. People will not just watch what you achieve, they will watch how you carry it. Chosen one, as sudden wealth settles into your life and visibility stabilizes, Heaven begins to use your obedience as a key for others. This is one of the most sacred dimensions of your elevation. Your life becomes more than a personal testimony. It becomes a signal, a pattern breaker, a living demonstration of what alignment with God can produce when faith is paired with discipline and surrender. This is why the weight you feel has never been just about you. From the beginning, your assignment carried a ripple effect. God never releases kingdom wealth for isolation. He releases it for distribution. Not reckless giving, but intentional impact. Not emotional generosity, but strategic stewardship. The way you move with resources will open doors for people you may never meet. I remember the moment this truth shifted my perspective. I had just experienced a breakthrough I once prayed for, and my first instinct was relief. But almost immediately needs began to appear around me. Not demands, but invitations. Opportunities to support ideas that carried purpose. Moments where my yes could change someone's trajectory. That was when I realized the blessing was never about my comfort. It was about my capacity to respond. Chosen one. Heaven is positioning you as a connector between provision and purpose. You will find yourself in rooms where your decision releases momentum for others, where your obedience unlocks pathways that were blocked for years, where your resources become answers to prayers you never heard, but God did. This is why your training has been so precise. God is not just shaping you to handle money. He is shaping you to handle influence. Influence without wisdom destroys. Influence with humility transforms. Heaven trusts you because you learned to say no when it mattered, to wait when it was uncomfortable, and to remain faithful when no one was watching. Your wealth will not just fund projects. It will fund healing. It will restore dignity. It will stabilize families. It will create opportunity where limitation once ruled. And the most powerful part is this: you will do it quietly, not for recognition, but for obedience. Chosen one. The world glorifies loud success. Heaven honors faithful stewardship. You are being raised to move differently, to give without announcement, to invest without control, to support without strings. This posture keeps your spirit pure and your assignment clear. There will be moments when people misunderstand your generosity. Some will assume you are obligated. Others will feel entitled. A few will question why you help some and not others. This is where discernment remains essential. Kingdom wealth does not respond to pressure. It responds to instruction. I learned that saying no can be as powerful as giving yes. Not every need is yours to meet. Not every problem is yours to solve. God assigns responsibility, not guilt. He directs provision, not obligation. You must remain sensitive to His voice, even as opportunities multiply. Chosen one. Your life is becoming a bridge, and bridges carry weight. They are walked on, they are tested, they are relied upon. This is why your foundation had to be reinforced. Heaven does not build bridges on unstable ground. Your endurance, your integrity, your discipline, these were not random virtues. They were structural necessities. As wealth flows, you will notice something profound. Your confidence will no longer come from what you possess, but from what you can release. Your joy will not be tied to accumulation, but to alignment. Your fulfillment will rise not from consumption, but from contribution. This shift protects your heart. It keeps abundance from becoming idolatry. It anchors your identity in purpose rather than possession. I had to learn that holding tightly to resources creates anxiety, but releasing them under God's direction creates peace. Chosen one. Heaven is teaching you to move with open hands but guarded discernment. Generosity without wisdom drains. Wisdom without generosity hardens. The balance between the two is where kingdom wealth thrives. You will begin to see fruit you never expected. Lives changed quietly. Doors opened unexpectedly. Connections formed naturally. This is how God multiplies impact, not through force, but through flow. When your obedience aligns with His timing, provision finds its way to the places it was always meant to reach. There will be times when you feel the weight of responsibility press heavier than the joy of blessing. In those moments, remember this truth: God does not assign what He does not sustain. The same grace that brought the wealth will sustain the weight of it. Chosen one. Your example will challenge those around you. Some will be inspired, others will feel confronted. Do not shrink your obedience to manage reactions. Let your life speak. Let consistency defend you. Let fruit validate you. And understand this clearly. You are not required to save everyone. You are required to remain obedient. God will multiply what you release. He will protect what you steward. He will guide what you build. As this season unfolds, you will also notice that people begin to look to you for direction, not because you claim authority, but because you carry clarity. Wisdom attracts seekers. Stability invites trust. Your calm in decision-making will stand out in a world driven by impulse. This is why your inner life had to be strengthened. Influence without inner peace collapses. Wealth without spiritual grounding corrupts. But you have been anchored, chosen one. Heaven is using your rise to demonstrate a principle many forgot. When wealth is placed in surrendered hands, it becomes a force for restoration, not domination, not self-glorification, restoration. And as this restoration begins to unfold through your life, there is one final layer of preparation that remains. Because every assignment reaches a moment of culmination where heaven invites the chosen one to step fully into authority, not as a recipient, but as a carrier. Chosen one. As this journey of preparation reaches its culmination, heaven invites you into something deeper than blessing. Authority. Not authority that dominates, but authority that governs. Not power that demands attention, but power that carries peace. This is the final seal of the process you have walked through. Sudden wealth is no longer approaching as a possibility. It is settling as an assignment. There comes a moment when heaven stops testing readiness and begins confirming trust. You are standing in that moment now. The striving has ended. The proving is complete. The refining has done its work. What remains is alignment. God is not asking you to become someone new. He is calling you to fully inhabit who you have already become. Chosen one. This is why fear no longer has authority over your decisions. You may still feel it whisper, but it does not lead. Doubt may still attempt to question, but it no longer governs. You have been trained to move with clarity even when emotions fluctuate. This is maturity. This is stewardship. This is the mark of someone heaven can trust at scale. I remember the moment I realized the shift had happened. I was facing a decision that would have terrified me in earlier seasons. But instead of panic, there was peace. Instead of urgency, there was stillness. Instead of confusion, there was quiet confidence. That was when I understood God had not just changed my circumstances. He had changed my posture. I was no longer reacting to life. I was responding from alignment. Chosen one. This is what it means to walk in authority. You no longer chase confirmation. You move from conviction. You no longer wait for permission from people who never carried your calling. You answer to God with obedience and humility, and this posture keeps your spirit light even as responsibility increases. Sudden wealth, when it fully settles, will feel different than you imagined. It will not feel chaotic. It will not feel overwhelming. It will feel ordered, grounded, purposeful. God is not releasing excess into your life to create noise. He is releasing provision to establish governance. This governance will show in how you make decisions. You will no longer be impulsive. You will be intentional. You will weigh impact, not just outcome. You will consider legacy, not just comfort. This is how kingdom authority expresses itself. Chosen one, you are stepping into a season where your yes carries consequence, where your obedience shifts atmospheres, where your alignment opens doors without force. You will notice that things begin to move with less resistance. Opportunities align without manipulation. Provision arrives without anxiety. This is not luck. This is order. Heaven has been arranging systems around your obedience, networks you did not build, doors you did not knock on, resources you did not chase. This is what happens when preparation meets timing. The struggle gives way to structure. But hear this clearly. Authority does not remove the need for humility. It deepens it. The more God trusts you, the more you will value His presence. Prayer will no longer be desperation. It will be communion. Stillness will no longer feel empty. It will feel full. Silence will no longer be uncomfortable. It will be strategic. Chosen one, do not romanticize the old seasons of struggle. Honor them, but do not return to them. God is not asking you to live small to remain spiritual. He is inviting you to live aligned to remain effective. The humility that carried you through lack will now carry you through abundance. You may notice that your desires continue to simplify. You are no longer hungry for excess, but for excellence. Not for accumulation, but for impact. This is the evidence that wealth has found the right hands. And as this chapter settles, there will be a quiet confidence rising in you. Not arrogance, assurance. You will know when to move and when to wait, when to speak and when silence carries more weight, when to give and when restraint preserves purpose. Chosen one. This is the life of someone walking in divine alignment. The noise of comparison fades. The pressure of expectation loosens. You are no longer performing for approval. You are stewarding from assignment. There may still be moments when the magnitude of what you carry feels heavy. In those moments, remember this truth: God never assigns what He does not sustain. The same grace that prepared you will keep you. The same wisdom that guided you will guard you. You are not stepping into this alone. Heaven is not surprised by your success. It authored it, and it will walk with you as you steward it. Chosen one. As sudden wealth becomes a settled reality, you are not required to announce it, defend it, or explain it. Your life will speak. Your peace will testify. Your fruit will confirm. You are no longer waiting for permission. You are walking in purpose. You are no longer asking if you are ready. Heaven has already answered. Stand steady. Walk humbly. Steward boldly. This is not the end of your journey. It is the beginning of your becoming, and heaven is with you. Chosen one, as this message gently comes to rest, allow your spirit to recognize the sacred weight of this moment. This is not an ending, it is an unveiling. Heaven has been preparing you, refining you, and positioning you for a supernatural transfer that is already in motion. You are not waiting for breakthrough anymore. You are standing inside the atmosphere of breakthrough in your exact kairos moment, where divine timing meets obedient faith. Anointed One, every season that tried to break you instead built you. Every hidden battle sharpened your discernment. Every tear and every prayer was seen, honored, and recorded. Now the same God who covered you in lack is trusting you in abundance. What is coming is not fragile wealth. It is fortified heaven, anchored increase, released with purpose, influence, and legacy. As you move forward, stay sensitive to the flow of the Spirit. Remain grounded in humility, faithful in stewardship, and grateful in expectation. Walk with confidence and holy reverence, knowing you were chosen because you can carry this blessing without losing yourself. If this word confirmed what your spirit already knew, you may declare it quietly or share it as an act of agreement. Stay connected to this place of alignment and revelation. Chosen One, rise in peace, rise in authority. Your supernatural transfer is unfolding now. May heaven keep you, guide you, and bless you abundantly.